yeah, this session is exploring less popular no-code roles, and it gives me great pleasure to invite, even though she's already on the stage, the one and only, the very beautiful, the very talented founder and CEO of Share. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Awazi. Woo!
Oh my God, guys, stop. No, don't stop. Keep going.
All right. Now, Awazi is going to welcome the rest. Do you want me to? I feel like you should welcome them yourself, right?
No, Toba, I like sharing with you. You can go ahead.
Yeah?
Yes.
I should welcome them?
Yes, please.
Oh, God. She wants to have the entire experience. God. All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember our deal. Whenever I welcome people, I will need that excitement. Okay. Our first panelist is a dear, dear friend. She and I met in the far-flung reaches of Nigeria, and she's absolutely amazing. Please make welcome the co-founder and managing partner at Assuredly, Unyime Tommy. Please put your hands together for her. She comes out looking absolutely dashing, very beautiful. Thank you very much. Please keep clapping till she comes up on stage. Thank you. She doesn't need anybody's help. Oh, my Lord. She can't do it all. Thank you so much. Next up, we have someone who is called and known as the chief fixer of the Tech Hive Advisory of Africa. Please welcome Deji Sarumi, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together. The fixer is in the building. You know what a fixer is, what a fixer does, and how you yourself can become a fixer today. Thank you very much. All right. Next up, we have Head of Partnerships at Enyata. Please make welcome Titi Macaulay, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, we're getting tired. Come on, we can do better. Those of us in front, don't clap. Those of us at the back, let's put our hands together. Thank you very much. I was will bring a microphone to you if you don't put your hands together. All right, thank you so much. Next up, our final participant, we have Senior Sales and Partnership Manager at Big Cabal Media. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Tosin Adesina. A round of applause, please. Thank you very much. You look good, sir. Love the outfits. Very Christmassy. So exciting. All right.
Thank you, Toba. Thank you for introducing the
Ladies
session.
and gentlemen, this is your panel. Please put your hands together for them one more time. And I leave you in the hands of Awazi.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Toba, and thank you guys for your time. Thank you for being here. I think that each one of you has a really interesting, not really popular role in tech, and that has piqued my curiosity. But I think that for the sake of everyone who is here, especially because most people know the most popular roles in tech, I want you to just give us like a one-line intro about what you do and how you started. One line, please. So can you tell us about what is QA in tech and how did you get started in the field?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I started QA in InterSwitch. I think that was my first QA role as an entry level. And I think I got into the role based on, there were two interviews happening that day. One was for developers and the other was for quality assurance analysts. And I mentioned that, I'm not here for the developer role. And they're like, okay, would you like to explore this other option? And I was like, yes. And that's pretty much how I got started in the QA role.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm curious about you, Deji. Why tech law of all kinds of laws to practice? Also, what is tech law?
Thank you. I'm not sure there's a particular definition, right? But I think I would say it's anything. Tech law is basically a mixture of a number of fields together, right? And how the law intersects with them, which is what we do at Tech Hive Advisory. We play in between business law and technology, advising clients on regulation, compliance, and best practices across different fields like cybersecurity, data protection, standard advisory, training, and research. So that's a mix of what we do. How I stumbled in here, I think I had done a lot of private equity and venture capital transactions, and I realized that what the industry celebrates a lot of times is, oh, when XYZ raises X amount of money, but no one really knows what goes on after that and the work that's really involved in that particular area. So I was like, oh, I need to know more about what happens behind the scenes, and that's how I stumbled into advising startups and doing more work beyond just helping with advisory for fundraising and transactions, and that's what led to where I am today, basically.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. I think one thing I noticed so far, and please, you guys, you must forgive me. I've been operating this little panel session very inefficiently because we've had a mic that I did not have to, cross against like one or two people. That being said, we do have one more panelist who is a really special panelist that will be joining us today. They are going to be here and be a part of this conversation about less popular roles in tech. And this panelist is Abiola Razak, the founder of The Bug Detective. Can you please put your hands together, guys, as Abiola joins us on stage? Abiola? Please, can you give a loud round of applause? Thank you so much, and welcome, Abiola. Just for the fun of it, for those who don't know, I think Abiola is more fit to lead this conversation today. I will be taking a little bit of a back seat right after we go over the introductions with everyone and, just getting to know how you got started in your field. So I guess, Abiola, I'm delighted to have you. When the microphone gets to you, it's yours. Awesome. All right. On that note, I'm very curious about partnerships as a concept. What is that as a role to explore in tech, and why did you explore it, Titi?
Okay, so I think I'd like to get started with how I got into it, then going into what it's about. So I never planned to get into partnerships. I wanted to come out of school and then run my business. So I had a lot of the transferable skills that I, got was from that experience. And so coming into partnerships, it felt like a perfect fit, right? Because partnerships really is about two bodies, with interests that align, coming together, and then you scratch my back, I scratch your back, right? So that's basically what it is in very simple terms. Now, that plays out in different ways, in different organizations, and in different areas of needs. Yeah, so that's really what partnership is about.
So then why did you do it?
Okay, what?
Why?
Why did I choose partnership?
Yes.
Like I mentioned, it didn't choose me, but then running a business taught me how to, number one, manage situations, manage things. You are in charge of how things run from start to finish. So getting into corporate worlds, I could easily fit in. Right, so I randomly found myself in partnership. I started out as a salesperson, and then after a while, I grew really fast in a very short space of time. I found myself, leading a partnerships role, and then I'll randomly find myself in meetings. And then because I had been doing things on my own before, I could own conversations. I could say so. I started off as a partner marketing professional. So in partnerships, you can either be a channel partnerships person, and that's like the most common kind of role in partnerships. You're working with the sales team, you're focused on helping the sales team hit their targets. You're looking for channels that can help you hit your numbers. Let's say, for example, there's Trefford, right? And then Trefford is looking to work with workspaces. So now for those workspaces, let's say it's the workspaces that initiated the partnership. The person who handles that is a channel partnership person, because Trefford is an opportunity for you to reach an audience of students who probably need a proper working space to participate in classes. Probably they're not in a space where they can have access to power. So now you see potential, with Trefford, and then you offer them a deal that allows every of our students all around Nigeria to access your workspace at a very, good deal, right? So if without that partnership, you wouldn't have access to that audience.
Right.
So that's what a channel partnership person does.
Right.
So that's like one role in partnership. Yeah. So
I have a feeling that there's so much more where that came from. But I'll tell you what, Titi, I really enjoyed listening to that. I feel like I walked on stage not knowing what your role was, and now I know it. I know even down to how you make it happen. Thank you. Can you pass the mic to Tosin, please? Because for Tosin, I'm very curious. What is tech sales? What is tech sales in a media company? How is tech sales different from sales?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, to start with, sales is sales. Whether you are selling bread or you are selling crude oil, sales is sales. The skills are the same. You have to be very good with your communication skills, negotiation skills. Business acumen must be very strong. You need to be at the top of the market trends. So, no matter what you're selling, it is the same. But what made tech sales different is that selling tech products involves using of tech tools. So let me give an example. If you want to sell some products back in the days, you have to start moving from, let's say I want to sell to Busha. I need to go to Busha office, ask for, let's say, Awazi, ask for Awazi, wait for her, go to our table, do presentation, come back next week Monday. I mean, you have a lot of back and forth. But for tech sales, the process is practically tech-driven. Start from you communicating online, generating leads using the softwares that are available, generating contacts, scheduling meetings. So what makes it different is that the tech process makes it faster. So instead of you spending a month to close out a deal of, let's say, $100,000, you can spend a week doing that because you don't need to go to any person. There is no barrier in the middle. And all you need to do is just done online. And the difference between that is that it has helped the growth of businesses. That's why you see a lot of tech companies, they will tell you that, oh, I work for Busha, I work for TechAbout, but I'm based in London. Tech is the difference. You cannot sell some products without being in the location. So what makes tech sales different is that you're using technology to sell tech products, which also helps drive the efficiency of the brand and also drives your own capacity as an individual. Simple.
Thank you, Tosin. Abiola, you have a background in testing, and I'm very curious as to how you got started, why this is important to tech companies, and just in general, what that pathway would look like for someone who wanted to get started.
Okay. So when it comes to quality assurance and testing, it's it's like two-sided, right? So we have the quality assurance part, which is more technical. So you have to write code to actually test code, right? So there is that part of quality assurance. And you also have the manual, or we call it functional now, functional test, where you can manually check an application that it works the way it should work. So you don't necessarily need some level of coding to do that. So how I actually got started in the field, I think I'm part of those people that feel like it's okay to stumble on any role. If you like it, if you find passion in what you do, give it your best shot. And for some of us, we may not always find that niche at the beginning of our career. We might have to try a lot of things, and eventually we find something that just stick with us. And I think that was literally what happened to me. I joined a company, and I was open to any role. I was fresh from school, and I was just told, oh, you can try software testing. It was the manual part, so I did not necessarily need to know how to code. I just needed to understand how the application works. And I kind of learned on the job. And I'm on that 6-year journey so far. Okay, so I think another thing I would like us to delve on, because when we are talking, we have a lot of people here who want to know so many non-code, field they can explore. We've had a lot of people talk about product management, have a lot of people talk about UI, UX, even the design, the writing. We have a number of people talk about a lot of things. But there are some roles that are not so popular, yet they kind of add a lot of benefit to the organization. So I'll just go to you. And why I'm going to tech law is because, I mean, I know that you do a level of, data protection. Your company, Tech Hive, does data protection, cybersecurity, and these roles are not cheap. They're not something that any company can try to just sweep under the roof. Under the carpet. The moment you try to do that, recipe for disaster. You are cooking beans, and it will come back to hurt you, right? So when you talk about data protection, when you talk about cybersecurity, when you talk about data privacy, a lot of companies get sued because, data breach and all of that. So, how did you get into that role, and what is the, what's the prospect both within and outside Nigeria?
Thank you very much. So, I think, first of all, when I left active practice, I think 5-6 years ago, my partner and I, we resigned on the same day, by the way. We didn't want to form a law firm. We wanted to do something different. And around that time, data protection was becoming more of a buzzword, more important. And I think we had been, looking into it for about 3 years or 2 years before then, writing about it. It was still more like a concept, right? So it wasn't really taking off locally, right? But we were getting some attention, particularly outside the country. Folks were asking about what's happening with it within Africa, within Nigeria, and we were getting more recognition outside the country than within the country. So when we decided to form Tech Hive, we're like, you know what? We won't form a law firm. We'll form a different kind of firm that does things that lawyers do, but things that also other sides do, merging both some parts of technology and law together. Because, like at Tech Hive now, we do a lot of technical analysis of people's websites, applications, do a lot of product work behind the scenes, trying to understand your ecosystem and how your data basically flows within your ecosystem. It's quite technical, right? So, and we are not just lawyers. We have tech guys that also work with us behind the scenes. So, and the reason for that was to try and do something different. And now it's becoming more of an in thing for people, right? And you find privacy counsels, privacy specialists, compliance officers that are being chased around with a lot of money, right? It's getting prominence in Nigeria, but I can tell you outside Nigeria, within Africa, folks pay a lot of money to have these things on lock, have their compliance in check. And one thing we're very proud of, particularly within Tech Hive, is when folks leave us, they always get global roles, always, right? We have folks that are leading roles in Europe and across Africa, and it's because of how maybe technical and how niche it is. It requires a certain level of understanding, and there's actually a huge demand for it, particularly outside Nigeria. So when folks get into it within Nigeria, they take that knowledge and learn about other jurisdictions and become quite skilled in those areas, and then be able to get global roles. So it's actually a very, 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 very lucrative area. A friend of mine sent me a post in New York, and the salary was about 415K. I was like, won't I just leave Tech Hive and go and apply there? Because it was like 500K. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money, right? But yeah, but those roles are very, very prominent, particularly in the West, and the demand for it is quite high, but the supply is actually quite low.
So, for lawyers here, and you're thinking, how can I transition to, tech? You don't need to start learning how to code. You can literally just transition just the same way Sarumi did. All right, so I'll go to Unyime. And Unyime is a quality assurance person like myself. And I also found out that Unyime and I were birthday mates, so so I'm really going to focus on the email. So when it comes to transitioning from a technical role to a technical company, a lot of people feel like it's a lot of hassle. I need to learn a lot of things. I need to learn on the job and all of that. But maybe perhaps you can share with us how you kind of transitioned skills from other role into quality assurance, and even you building your own firm eventually.
Okay, I would say that first off, I think everything boils down to interest, right? So you have to be interested in what you want to transition into or what you want to go into. So if you want to become X, right, what are the first off, soft skills, right? Since we're talking about that, you're not getting into the like core tech. But okay, what are the initial soft skills that you need to have at hand? So coming to QA, for a QA person, you need to be thorough, right? You need to be very mindful and you need to pay attention to details, right? So do you have that personality to start with before you even hold anyone's application at hand, right? Can you spot it on a document, just even reading a slide and all that, right? So that's a way to look at it. So what are the soft skills that you need to be able to transition into the role that you have interest in? Because that is like the easiest part to go in, like easiest part to start building. And then once you figure that out, it's now, okay, what are the hard skills? Like what is now critical to this role? What do I need to know in this role? So for a quality assurance person, it means that you need to understand the full life cycle of software development from the inception of the idea to the delivery of the idea, because you're not just going to be spotting things, right? You need to understand to be able to spot it. So you need to understand who the people you're working with, what you to expect from them. Because if you are supposed to come and test something and you don't even know what the product is supposed to do, then what are you looking out for not to be there to start with? So it's to start out from the soft and then you gradually build into the hard skills. And building into the hard skills could mean that you are working closely now with people in that field, people you know that, okay, are currently doing this. So find networks that, you know, are currently doing that. Volunteer if possible, right? We all have applications. In fact, you should have a friend in tech, for instance, that currently has an app in their company. And then you know that, okay, let me see this app. Let me help you spot things, right? So from there, and then it could also help you walk you through that. And you should be open to volunteering, right? I think that's one thing we don't do very well in this part of the world, whereby you are willing to take up stuff for free, as in work for free, basically, and working for free, you could gain a lot, because when you go into the organization, there's so much you can learn on YouTube, definitely. There's so much you can learn on the whole, on all the LMS we have today, but you cannot take anything away from the experience and the hands-on skills, right? So you need to figure out where to find that hands-on skill, right, to be able to build your career further from where you have an idea from or where you have the interest from.
All right, thank you very much for that, Unyime. So I'll just reiterate. So it's always better for you to tilt towards your skill. It's always better to tilt towards any soft skill you built on other roles. And if you don't have any background, like she rightly said, volunteer. Just have a taste of different field, and the one that you find best for you, then you can now like build your career on that. So for the final question, I'll just go to Titi. So Titi, you know that particularly you moved from different, ecosystem before you eventually got into tech per se. So how was it like moving from those? How was the transition period for you? And for people here who are coming with, they are totally blank. They want to know, how long will it really take me to sound like I belong here when I'm in meetings, when I'm talking to people? Like, so many people have said, you're in tech, but you're not in tech. So how long does it take before you actually sound like you're really in tech?
Okay, so I don't like to focus on duration or longevity. I like to focus more on your foundation. What do you have? What can you do? Right? So I kicked off from different ecosystems, like you said, from fashion to finance, fintech. Then I'm in, product development and software engineering. And then there are certain skills that have been constant through all of these transitions. Number one thing I like to say is when you want to get into certain ecosystems or you want to transition into certain roles, first you have to be honest with yourself, right? What are your natural abilities? What are the things that come very easy and natural to you? I'm a business-oriented person from the start. So wherever it is that I am, either finance or tech or wherever, I'm always going to tilt towards the business part of things. I have that on lock. Number two, I love to execute. If you want to get things done, right, just put me in the mix. I'll get it done from ground up. And so getting into the corporate systems and then getting into all these meetings where you have all of these corporate jargons going on, All I need to do is to be calm and then listen to all of you, study your mannerisms. I've done things like this before, but like in different forms. So before I got into finance, when I was running my own business, I secured partnerships with a bank in Nigeria for my business. We secured partnership with stockists to help us, with distribution, which is basically what you do as a channel partnerships person, right? Secured partnership, and then so when I moved into, finance, I was working, aside being, leading the sales team, I was working as, leading partnership for marketing. And then I was partnering with third parties that would help us with our marketing KPIs. And so it was basically the same thing, but in a different form. And negotiation skills, important, unlock. I've done that before. And so it wasn't so hard for me to be able to do the same thing, but then in a different way, right? People skills, very important. Either you're a product partnership person, or a marketing partnership person, or a channels partnership, whatever it is that you are, it's important for you to understand people's skills. You will be the one to go negotiate for your company and then close these deals. But the truth is, you won't be the person that would deliver the promise that you've gone to promise, that you've gone to promise, right? I work in a software development company. When I go to make promises, when I go to make promises, I'm not the person that would code or, do the engineering and do all of that. I have to be able to work with these guys, help them see how it is their job, why it's important for them to deliver, and then, get them to do that. Same with finance, same with, so basically the skills that I need, I have applied them in different ecosystems. And moving into a different, situation, I was able to do the same thing.
Thank you very much, Titi. So just to round up, once it comes to any role that you are interested in, just think about what do I do currently. When it comes to tech, it's not just the engineering part that works. There are other parts of the old tech ecosystem that needs the engineering part to function. So all you need to just do is find one that you can fit into and give it your best shot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Biola, for asking all the right questions. I don't think I would have been able to do it that well. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause, especially everyone that learned something about being able to use their transferable skills in tech and make a lot of money, even if your roles are not really popular. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Thank you for your attention. This is the NoCode Tech Summit 2023.